And the pound-for-pound best alive.
Of the world!
Sensational.
Now his face might be too. Oban Elliott with a massive right.
Oh, wow.
That'll do it. Oban Elliott continues to shine.
Fluid.
Massive right. Ramiz Brahimaj. The Bronx's own. Big flurry from Onama now late in the round.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's going for it.
But here you gotta be careful. You gotta break guillotines deep.
That's very tight. That's it.
Chandler has done it again.
Oh, he got a little crazy there.
Knockdown for Rufy. The winner by unanimous decision, Bibiani Araujo.
Another takedown by Charles.
Left it.
That's a big right for Chandler.
How strong is Michael Chandler? Unbelievable. What a fight.
As athletes, we live for moments tonight. These two men will fight for the crown of the baddest man on the planet.
How good is Johnny Bones? How good?
Kia ora e te iwi no mai hara mai ki UFC on Sky ko Ravinda Huni a tōku ingoa. Joining me back on deck, UFC lightweight Dan Hooker. Kia ora.
Back, baby. You can't take my job just yet, mate, Cutter France. They're not putting me out of pasture just yet, mate.
Trying to make you redundant.
He's coming for my spot, mate. He's coming for my couch.
He's coming for the title.
Yeah. First show in the new digs. And Kai's coming for my job.
Making himself at home. Oh, no, it's good to have you here. What do you think? What do you reckon? How are you liking it?
Stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning. We've got a cage in the background
Yeah.
now. It's looking better than last week, you know what I mean? Just slide that in there.
Yeah.
It's cool setup.
Yeah.
Nice and relaxed.
No, it's
Good to
good.
go.
It's good. Look, and we, of course, had everything set up because it was UFC 309 last week. Huge card and, of course, came with huge results. I first wanted to start off with getting your opinion on the co-main event on UFC 309, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, and how you thought that went out, and did it go the way you thought it would?
Nah, I can't say it really went the way that I thought it would go, and that was more to like Oliveira's fighting very smart and keeping his range, which he doesn't tend to do, trying to kind of marches forward and walks in the range and gets hit with hard shots before he kind of wakes up and chokes the other bloke out. But no, it was an incredibly tactical performance from Charles Oliveira. Kept his range well, used good strikes from range to shut him down with the body lock, and controlled Michael Chandler on the ground, which not a lot of guys can do. You know, he's a short, stocky wrestler by trade, and a very difficult guy to hold down and control for that long. So credit to Charles Oliveira for that. Obviously, in the fifth round, they gave everyone a bit of a heart attack. Getting clipped from hard shots. Michael Chandler's always dangerous, but the fouls were pretty. The fouls are pretty
Evident,
wild.
yep.
The cage grabs and the hits to the back of the head were even come from myself. That was pretty. It was pretty egregious. But yeah, you can't really at that stage of the fight. Michael Chandler's just doing anything he possibly can to win. But yeah, that puts Charlie right back in the title mix. I'd say that the UFC promised the winner of that fight the next title shot after Arman has his turn. So yeah, I'd be expecting that as the next title fight. It's whoever wins out of Arman and Islam to fight Charles Oliveira.
Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions.
What, first of all, did you make of that John Jones-Stipe Miocic?
Yeah, like, I know, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? 42 years old, he's been sitting out for a long time. I don't know. At the end of that fight, it was kind of anticlimactic. I'm just speaking for myself. It was kind of anticlimactic. It kind of finished that, and then we were kind of just all like, "What was the point of that?" Like, we all wanted to see him fight Tom anyway.
Yeah.
That was kind of where it's going. And it's like, if you're holding an entire division's people's hopes and dreams, and then just sitting out there and kind of stalling with it and not giving the number one contender and the guy that everyone wants to see you fight the opportunity for the title. Like, having the world title means that you have to take on all comers. That's you're saying that you're the best and you're prepared to take on the most qualified contender.
Dana White's never steered away from saying Tom Aspinall next.
The winner should absolutely fight Tom.
That's the UFC. Like, that's the business model that the UFC has devised, is that winners fight winners, top contenders fight top contenders. Like, we hear all the time when a guy like Nick Diaz fights and he gets matched with a guy like a Vicente Luque. You know what I mean? Like, this killer young guy coming up and fighting like an old legendary guy who's over the, like, who might be like too far gone and coming back because he wants to fight for a little bit of dosh. But that's not what the UFC's about. They don't do favorable matchups. Like, they don't do like favorable legendary matchups. You know what I mean? They don't give they don't let two old dogs just fight each other. That's not the business that they're in. The business that they're in is the best fight the best. Consistently, winners fight winners, and what the fans want, the fans get.
But Whānau, this weekend it is UFC Macau, where is featuring our very own Carlos Ulberg, and he joins us now from Macau. Kia ora, Carlos, and welcome on in to UFC on Sky.
Kia ora, thank you.
You were just telling us off camera that you've just flown in, that you've landed, flew in the night before. So talk to us about settling into this place where I'm pretty sure you haven't been before.
Yeah, first time here in Macau. So we arrived late last night. There's a bit of just passing around the ball where we didn't know what to do. Finally checked in and settled ourselves in and got some rest last night. So it's early morning now, and soon after everything's done, I'll go outside and get some fresh air, have a little look around. But it seems to be a bigger version of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I've been there. I've fought in Macau a decade ago, more than that, and it's a wild place. It's just like a place not many people know about. They call it the Las Vegas of China because gambling is actually legal in mainland China, but technically the island of Macau, there's a bit of, they let it slide, so everyone travels there. So it's China's version of Las Vegas, and it's an incredible city, and I'd encourage anyone to check it out. But we'll get into the fight now. And it's just interesting to ask you, like, Oezdemir is another striker. Do you see this as just being a kickboxing match, or do you think he'll look to get this fight to the ground? Like, what kind of fight are you envisioning?
He's a strong kickboxer. I think that he'll definitely look to take it to the ground at some point. But anything can happen. I'm kind of focused more on what I've been working on and let him play into my game. So I've been preparing for anything to happen, of course, and if it goes to the ground, then we'll be prepared for that.
Yeah, he's obviously got a lot of experience too. Carlos, been in the UFC since 2017. Fought some really big names as well, as you're probably aware of, but plenty of tape to watch. So what do you make of him and his striking? Because I'm guessing this isn't going to go, the full 3 rounds.
No, yeah, I think he's a full-on experienced striker. He's been with the best. He's been in for a while, and he's got the experience in his hands and the confidence too. As I've been seeing a lot of his interviews and been watching him, so I feel like he does and has built his ground game, as well as his extensive background in kickboxing or K1 rules. So I think that if he's going to be a tough opponent But come Sunday night, I think Saturday night, it's going to be whoever wants to play it in their court.
Yeah, so you're not saying that we're looking past Oezdemir yet, right? I'm not going to say it to you yet, but you know, you're fighting, I believe he's number 6 ranked in the division at the moment. I believe the number 8 or 9 just fought for the title. So with your 6-fight win streak coming up into this fight with an impressive finish, do you see yourself kind of jumping the line and jumping the queue for a title fight potentially after this?
Yeah, I mean, like, after this, it'll be the 7th fight win streak, and it'll be. It's a funny division, but you do have guys like Ankalaev who has deserved the spot, but anything can happen in this situation as well. So I mean, later down the line, I know for sure that I'm going to eventually fight Portan. That's a good fight for me. And I think that'll be a fight that a lot of the fans would definitely want to watch, and a lot of fans have been urging me to go up against him. But at this point, it's just whoever has the title, and if you've got that title, I'm coming for it. So whether it be Ankalaev or Portan, those are the guys that I'm looking to go up against in the near future, and especially after this fight, if we get a really good finish.
Yeah, nice one. I read in the Herald, written by our friend Chris Reeve over at the Herald, that you said you think that this fight against Volkan Oezdemir could be a tougher fight than a fight against Alex Pereira. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that a bit more.
Yeah, he's got the experience. He's got the experience. He's been here with some of the best guys in the division. He's been up and down in the top 10 for a long time, and he's a real tough opponent to try to imitate or as to get sparring partners to imitate for. So and he's very durable. So he's someone that you got to be careful of. He's got the power in his hands, and you just have to be real careful with guys like that. So as long as I play to my game, we'll be fine.
Dan, while I've got you here, what do you make of this matchup? Obviously, when we've spoken about you quite often, Carlos, obviously, because the options here for you are endless, but getting an opponent like Volkan Oezdemir, what excites you about this matchup?
Yeah, it excites me that it's a stand-up fight, it's a striking fight. You know, Carlos has the reach, has the length on Oezdemir, and it's just a perfect fight to set himself up for a title shot and jump the line. It's pretty obvious that the UFC doesn't want Ankalaev to have the belt because he doesn't have the most fan-friendly style. You know, he's prone to stalling out decision wins, especially his last fight. He just kind of jammed the bloke up against the cage in the last fight and let the time run out. So do we want to see that against the UFC's most marketable champion right now, or the biggest star in the UFC right now, which is Alex Pereira, or do we want to see another striker, a fan-friendly matchup, a guy on a 7-fight win streak with impressive knockout wins, highlight reels coming out of his ears? I would rather see Carlos Ulberg fight Alex Pereira than can't even remember his name.
You can't say we're going to be talking to him.
Volkan Oezdemir.
No, I was ragging on Ankalaev, not Oezdemir. I like Oezdemir.
Yeah.
The Swiss. He's Swiss, right?
Yes, he's here.
The Swiss samurai.
Yeah. But before we let you go, Carlos, an absolute, great opportunity for you to prove doubters wrong, because I feel like, a lot of the time you do come into these fights as the underdog. It happened with, Alonzo Menafield as well, and you went in there and put him away very, very quickly. So what can fans expect to see this weekend when you take to the octagon?
Every time I jump into the octagon, it's always I'm going in there to finish the guy. So I'm looking to knock him out in the first round and get it done quickly, because I want to save the body for when the time is right and when we need to. So I'm looking to build myself up into that title fight and as quickly as possible. So first round knockout for me.
Nice. And we wouldn't expect anything less, Carlos, but thank you so much for watching. And everyone at here will be watching you in anticipation ahead of UFC Fight Night in Macau.
Ciao.
And also joining us from Macau today is Volkan Oezdemir. Volkan, welcome to UFC on Sky.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for welcoming me.
You are very welcome. Look, you're over there in Macau right now, over in China. How has preparations been, or how long have you been in? Let's start there. How long have you been in Macau so far, getting ready for UFC Fight Night?
Now it's been 3 days. I just arrived, but everything is good. You know, I just came a little bit early for the time differences, just to get acclimatized to the time zone and climate. Because right now I'm located in Sweden. Is actually a little bit different. It's way colder, and I'm very good. I had a good camp, a good training, and I'm ready to bring it on.
Nice one. And you're pretty accustomed to traveling around the world for your fights too. You don't only fight, in places like America. So how has it been traveling to Macau this time for your fight when you travel quite often?
Yeah, actually, it's my longest flight, the longest time I've been traveling for a fight. But it's nothing different. You just have to be ready for what's coming. Anything important anyway is the fight day. So whatever you want, it's all about the D-Day. So you just need to be ready for this time is going to be 3 times 5 minutes, and that's it. So I'm going to have to be at my best that day, and of course now it's time to be ready.
Good day, Volkan. So my teammate Carlos Ulberg, he's been incredibly respectful of you and your skills. He's said that he's even said that he thinks that you're a tougher matchup for him than the champion Alex Pereira. So he's got a lot. He's put a lot on your resume. You have fought for the title. You've been in the UFC for a lot longer than Carlos. So he's super aware of your dangers. He thinks you're a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. I'd just like to get your opinion of how you see. What's your opinion of Carlos Ulberg, and where do the dangers lie for you?
Yeah, Carlos is definitely an athletic guy. He's very strong, quick, athletic, and he moves well. Of course, there is a difference in the experience we both got into the octagon and the level we faced in the competition. But obviously he's an up-and-comer, so that's also why he never had the chance, and it's never somebody to take lightly, of course, because I've been in this position. My first UFC fight actually was in 2017 when I was facing on short notice the number 6 guy at the time. It was Ovin Sempro, so I was totally unknown to the public, and I won my fight, and then I went on a tear. So obviously you cannot be like, hey, I'm in this spot and I deserve this place. Whoever else is ranked under me are nobodies, because that's also something that happened to me when I fought Jimmy Manua, for example. He was ranked number 3, and he really took me lightly because I had only 2 UFC fights and he had plenty. And he was supposed to be a replacement for the title fight from John Jones versus Cormier too. And when he was on interviews prior to the fight, he really took me lightly and were talking a little bit down on me, and that fight didn't happen very well for him. So obviously, I will never take the chance, because not me but my friend took a little bit of a laugh at him after the fight. But this is something, of course, you have to respect, because right now are in the UFC. Of course, there is level differences within the UFC, but as long as you're in the UFC, you're a dangerous guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And you've been preparing for this fight alongside Gustafsson, so you are taking this fight very seriously, not taking Carlos lightly, as you say. What has Gustafsson added to your fight camp in preparations for Carlos Ulberg?
Yeah, Alex was actually a very good teammate to have around, because this guy is very experienced. He's been at the top level for many years, more than 10 years or so. He fought for the belt many times. He had some legend fights for the belts. Jones and Cormier, he had so much history inside his in himself. He had a lot of history that he can actually put on and give me all this experience. So it's actually very good to train with him, and also a different guy, that I've been training with in my gym. So It's obviously always very good to have like a bunch of people around you, but the only one that's going to be in the cage, anyway, is you. So, it's all about yourself, and you have to be ready inside your head. Otherwise, you're not going to show up on D-Day.
I have a question. Carlos on a 6-fight win streak, you yourself are on a 2-fight win streak. Do you feel like this could potentially, or the winner of this fight, jump the queue? Ankalaev is not the most fan-friendly. We just saw the number 8 or 9, Khalil Roundtree, who's a stylistic, favourable matchup, like another striker, a fan-friendly fight. This is, in my opinion, is a very fan-friendly fight between yourself and Carlos Ulberg. Do you feel like with a win you'd be able to potentially jump the line, and this could perhaps be a number 1 contender fight?
This fight is a banger for sure. It's going to be a must-watch. It's going to be a must-watch fight. And we saw that already. I was actually surprised when Anthony Smith publicly said that already, that the winner of this fight might jump the queue because Ankalaev, like Pereira said, you want to make Ankalaev wait because he's been like disrespectful or something. So I know also with the big performance, with something very flashy or something very good, I might be able to jump the line for sure. So I might be also like a fight or 2 away from the title contention. So definitely it's going to be, a decisive point.
Nice one. And speaking of that and possible title matches, we know no fighter likes to look past their opponent, but what do you make of Alex Pereira holding that light heavyweight title? That's obviously a feat that you've been working towards for many years and have only had one opportunity to fight for.
Yeah, Alex Pereira has been very, very impressive, of course. He came, I'm not going to say out of nowhere, but he was very new in the UFC, and he has already 2 title fight and 2 title defense at a different weight class. So that's very, very, very impressive. And he's been already a 2 times glory champion, 2 divisions glory champion. So that's actually something very big, and he speaks a lot about himself. He might be very fresh into UFC, but if you consider all of that together, that's actually something hard to beat.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Volkan, and all the very best for this weekend. We know that this fight is going to be promising fireworks for sure. Definitely, it's going to be a must-watch TV moment. Okay, so there you have it, Dan Hooker. We've heard from both the fighters, our very own Carlos Ulberg and Volkan Oezdemir. And you were saying that CKB do have somewhat of a connection to Volkan over the years, have run into him. Yeah, I think a few of the boys have trained with him. I know Kevy's trained with him. A few of the other boys have sparred him as well. Yeah, well, I think it was when I fought Takesi, and so me and Israel would just finish hitting pads on fight week, and Volkan was there promoting his fight. This is just before he fought Daniel Cormier at the time, and we finished training, and then Volkan was there just in Las Vegas promoting his fight with Daniel Cormier, and he asked Huge if he could hold pads for him for a bit. So it was a pretty I think Huge would have some insider knowledge yeah, for sure. about just the way Volkan moves and stuff like that. That's why Huge really like us going around and doing pads with random coaches and stuff like that, because how the universe works. It'll kind of kick you in the bum one day, I think. Yeah, it all comes around in circles. But on that note, what do you make of this fight? Obviously, we've spoken about that this fight possibly isn't going to get out of those, we're not going to see the end of 3 rounds, that this has knockout written all over it. Yeah, Volkan, heavy puncher, sits down and everything, and lends himself towards a firefight, but what we've seen from Carlos Ulberg in his career is he's an absolute sniper at range. He waits for guys to lunge, and he waits for opponents like this to reach, and then he teaches. He catches them coming in from that long range, and standing at the end of Carlos's range and thinking you can pick him off from distance is just not going to happen with Volkan. So Volkan's going to have to press forward, and I would say press forward and jam Carlos Ulberg up against the cage will be his best bet. And Carlos, it's just about resetting back to the center, keeping his range, and
keeping Volkan at the end of his punch, and I think, I don't see this fight going to decision by any means. But asking both boys whether or not that they feel like this puts them in title contention, they both agree with the impressive performance, their win streak flowing, that they could jump the line ahead of Ankalaev for the world light heavyweight title.
Yeah, which just puts that little bit more spice on the fight, doesn't it? Well, of course, we are wishing both of these men all the best this weekend. Whānau, you can catch UFC Fight Night this weekend. Of course, you can catch it on ESPN. Do not miss all the action. Our very own Carlos Ulberg, light heavyweight, in action against Volkan Oezdemir. And of course, in the main event will be Peter Yan up against Davison Figueiredo. Thank you for joining us. Hei kona mai.